The mountains, actually the whole area around here, feel like home to me. I don't need to go on vacation. We have paradise right here on our doorstep.
I think everyone enjoys being in the mountains, but it's definitely a tightrope walk between beauty and danger.
Visibility is 5 meters. It's raining.
There's no response. We're not sure what to do.
The mountain isn't a toy or a gym. People tend to forget that.
Watch out for the rock. On the mountain, you can't just say, I'm done now, I'm leaving. You have to get back down first, somehow. Slowly.
The mountain is always the boss, and it won't forgive your mistakes.
Some really terrible tragedies have unfolded there, with fathers and children not making it home. We're searching for a missing person. If the weather turns, you can't win on a mountain like this. You don't stand a chance and just have to respect the mountain range.
Anything can happen. That's exactly why we have the Mountain Rescue Service.
We're on duty 24/7, 365 days a year.
When the pager goes off, we're on our way. If the helicopter can't take off, we're the only ones left. In this terrain, if we can't make it, then no one else will either.
The call came in at 12:20 p.m. We learned from the dispatch center that someone had fallen. The initial report said it was over 50 meters. In the Schönfeldgraben Gully, the path is difficult and steep. It's not secured. If you fall there, it's unlikely you wouldn't get hurt. I tried calling him back since I have his phone number. Then we would have had a better idea of what was going on at the scene, but there's no answer.
My name is Franz Vogel. I live in Ramsau, Germany, and have been with the Ramsau Mountain Rescue Service since 2018. Ever since I was little, I always watched them in action, and I was always fascinated by the camaraderie and the work these people do. It's exciting, of course. The rescue missions are exciting. No two missions are alike. It's really something special. The helicopter had already received the coordinates from our rescue dispatch center. It was on its way to our mountain rescue station, had already gotten close to the scene and saw, yeah, okay, we can land there. Let's get the mountain rescue team in now, and then we'll take a closer look. If the incident location isn't clear yet, or if the report isn't clear about what's actually going on, then we have to rely on getting more information. Because we respond as soon as the alarm goes off and don't wait until we have all the information.
But we've been able to narrow it down pretty well. It's over there in the Schönfeldgraben Gully. So the descent is there along this line, and over there, roughly at the crossing, is where he fell.
Things go through your mind as you approach the scene. 40 meters is high, and you almost have to assume he didn't survive. How old are you?
44.
How about here? Does that hurt?
No, it feels more like it's bruised. I've never broken anything before, but it doesn't feel like anything's broken.
You two aren't together? You weren't out together?
Yes, we were out together.
Why did he fall?
I think he slipped.
He was lying in a dry riverbed on some rocks. It was about 30 to 40 meters down. When you see him lying there in a pool of blood, you expect the worst.
It's possible, Benjamin, that you might feel a little lightheaded. Kind of like when you've had too many drinks, okay? But the pain should start to ease up.
Okay. Yeah?
Benjamin, let me know when you start noticing it, okay?
Yes.
Are you feeling anything yet? You were really lucky.
Yeah, I think so too.
Were you wearing a helmet?
No.
The patient was lucky. It looks like he has no serious injuries.
When
we arrived at the scene, we could see that the patient was responsive and could move a little. That put our minds at ease a bit right away. Where can we touch you? You'll have to grit your teeth a little anyway. His right side is hurting him quite a bit.
It doesn't really matter.
Quick and painless. Your pelvis, does that hurt?
No, just a little bit there on my stomach, but other than that, I'm okay.
Okay, then 1, 2, 3. How's the pain now? Better, right?
Yeah.
You'll be feeling a little tired by now. Good. 1, 2, 3.
Fast auf, Kruzifix! Schleifzeug!
We only had a few seconds to protect the patient and ourselves too. In that unfortunate incident, it was hikers who triggered it. They just couldn't resist looking down. They strayed a little off the trail and set off the rock fall. That's no laughing matter. He was so lucky. Crazy. If he'd hit his head on something, on a rock or something. He's lucky to be alive. Unbelievable. Did he go head over heels? But he wasn't wearing a helmet, was he? And who called for help?
There were two other people there. They came down, and one of them called for help because we didn't have cell service.
The patient was very lucky in this incident, despite the high fall.
It's actually like winning the lottery. To come through something like that unscathed, just to survive, is a stroke of luck.
Based on how things looked at first, we had expected to see some serious injuries.
Some people die because they land badly from a height of 1 meter.
Yeah, you could say he had a couple of guardian angels. Yes, thanks, Martin 1. Have a chill day and see you soon.
It's good to know that in situations like that, there are people who risk their own lives to save others. Many thanks to everyone at the Mountain Rescue Service.
I'm Josef. I've been with the Mountain Rescue Service for 9 years. I'm from Ramsau, and luckily I work in Ramsau too. I work right across the street, which is of course ideal. I can leave work and get to the scene very quickly. I originally joined the Mountain Rescue Service because I'm a passionate mountaineer myself, and even if you're experienced, you're never immune to something happening. And then you're happy when someone is there to help. And this way, I can help others too. Yes, hello, this is Josef from the Ramsau Mountain Rescue Service. Did you just call for help? The initial dispatch report is always the first thing we receive. The cell phone rings, the initial report already says something like a friend has contacted us, and that she's in contact with the patient in question via WhatsApp. So you're at home, okay, and you're in contact with him via WhatsApp. It can be a bit vague at first. You don't really know what's going on yet, because if she's in contact with him but isn't there in person, and he isn't answering his cell phone, or you can't reach him, then you have to figure out what's really going on so you can get as much information as possible. Okay, what did you say earlier about the Blaueis Glacier? What was he planning to do there? The phone call with his girlfriend turned out to be very informative. She confirmed that he'd been sending WhatsApp messages and needed help. And after the call, I was also able to narrow down the rough location. And based on the starting point at the Pfeifenbacher Bridge and the fact that he was at the Blaueis Hütte and had crampons with him, I was actually able to narrow down the route he planned to take pretty precisely. The Hochkalta is about 2,600 meters high, Ramsau is at 600 meters, so the elevation gain from the valley to the summit is just under 2,000 meters. The elevation gain you have to cover there is quite significant. And he's on the glacier, right? In that case, it wasn't until I received that call that I was really sure the person was in our service area and needed help. Ramsau 7 dispatch center requesting a helicopter. The Hochkalter is listed as a 5-hour hike from the valley. That means 5 hours of pure walking time for an averagely fit mountaineer. Of course, there are some who can do it much faster, and there are plenty who take much longer. It depends on the individual. Did Raphael check in?
Am Funk oder was?
7-5, copy that.
The sky is clear all the way up. The summit of the Hochkalte is shrouded in clouds, but otherwise you can see in every direction. I looked through my binoculars and didn't spot anything. I'm going to get ready now, so I'll be on standby if you need me.
So Raphael just checked in. He's the owner of the Blaueis Hütte. He's also a member of our mountain rescue team. Like the rest of us, he gets the dispatch notification and of course immediately realizes, okay, this is an incident in his area. Yeah, that works. Get yourself ready and let us know when you're at the landing site.
All right.
At the same time, though, more air rescuers have arrived at our station and they're also getting ready to fly, so there's some backup. We weren't sure whether the first flight would work or if we'd need more people. Of course, it's ideal to have Raphael on site because he knows the mountain like no one else. He practically grew up at the Blaueis Hütte. That's obviously very, very valuable, especially since he's a trained mountain guide. It really doesn't get any better than that.
So the Blaueis Hütte, with me as a member of the Mountain Rescue Service, can be considered a sort of branch office. Especially when a serious rescue operation or a serious accident happens here, time is of the essence, and that's when it really helps to be on the scene quickly. I'm Raphael Hang, and I was born and raised in Ramsau. As a kid, you realize that your dad is with the Mountain Rescue Service, and then you think to yourself, when I get older, I'll join too and do the same job.
This could get really interesting. Raphael Hang says the glacier is still clear, but the summit of the Hochkalter is shrouded in fog. Does Raphael have any belay gear with him? Did you bring a drill, Lucas?
I did.
A drill?
And I have quick drill pitons.
Raphael was going to take the helicopter to locate the scene. He wanted to see where it was and then ideally pick up the patient right away and fly straight down to the valley. That was the plan.
People used to access the Blaueis Glacier quite often, so there were a lot of difficult missions there. The most difficult one I can remember was the one where Peter Hildebrand, the former head of operations for the Ramsau Mountain Rescue Service, lost his life. I think I was about 14 at the time, and I went with my father, who was still working with the Mountain Rescue Service at the time, to about halfway up the Blaueis Glacier, carrying some gear. All I remember is that in the end, they had to call the Berchtesgaden Mountain Rescue Service as backup, because the operation had gotten out of hand. Peter fell in thick, foggy conditions, and since I knew my way around up there pretty well, even as a kid, I went up with the neighboring rescue team, and I kind of showed them the way. The mountain isn't a toy, nor is it a gym. People tend to forget that. Things happen up there, sometimes things that aren't so pleasant. And you should keep that in mind when you head up a mountain like that things can sometimes get a little out of hand.
I'm Lucas Wurm. I'm 37 years old and I work as a chimney sweep. I think I joined the Mountain Rescue Service in 2001. It's been a while. I'm an air rescuer and I'm part of the canyoning team, a specialized unit. I think there's a general mindset today. It's a modern one, that you can achieve anything you want. But that doesn't matter to the mountain, or rather the mountain doesn't care. There are situations where, no matter how strong-willed you are, external circumstances won't let you do what you want.
Okay, verstanden. Okay, got it.
Maybe you could let 2 air rescuers know that we're bringing up more manpower since the weather's getting worse and worse.
2 air rescuers are ready to go. Should they bring any additional equipment?
I have a drill, 3 bolts and a 30-meter rope. Yeah, the clouds make things really unpredictable. I mean, clouds aren't a big deal right now, except for the helicopter, because it means the helicopter can't get to where it would have gone before. If we can reach the person by air, then someone can do it. Raphael Hahn could have handled that on his own. But now we know that the fog line is dropping, and it's likely we'll have to get there by land, which will take longer.
Hello.
Are you looking for someone?
Yes? You aren't by any chance the ones we're looking for.
Are you looking for a person on their own?
Did you see anything?
In the glacier, if you look down in the top left corner.
So on the rock or still on the ice?
On the ice. He was already way up in that corner where the gap between the snow and the rock is.
When was that?
About an hour and a half ago.
Okay.
At the very top of the glacier, right on the edge.
All right, then let's take a look. Ramsau 7 to 7-3.
Ramsau 7, listening.
So I'm descending from the Hochkalte to the saddle. Visibility is 5 meters. It's raining. There were 3 eyewitnesses at the Hochkalte. They noticed a person right at the edge crevasse about 1 to 1.5 hours ago who had been there for ages. That's probably the person we're looking for, and I'm heading toward him now.
He's now descending from the summit of the Hochkalte into the Glacier's saddle. That section isn't secured. He's lucky he knows the area well, but on the descent in bad weather, I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, I wouldn't be sure that I could find the right path right away. Yeah, and it's not a good idea to slip there. You just fall. I don't know how many 100 meters.
Christoph 14 is landing here with us and picking up the 2 air rescuers.
We got off below the break in the Blaueis Glacier and are climbing up to Raphael. It's that slope over there. We got off our skis at this rocky break in the glacier and then made our way onto the upper glacier field. It gets as steep as 50 degrees further up. It's an easy run on skis.
Alexander?
Okay.
Okay, stay where you are. Ramsau 7 to 7-3.
Ramsau 7, copy that.
I'm at the Glacier saddle. I'm in voice contact with him.
Okay, check in again when you're with him.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to place a couple of pitons so we can secure him. He's right at the edge of the crevasse.
Two more of our rescue team members are on their way. They got off at a different location. They're below the Blaueis Glacier where they were dropped off, and they're now making their way up. Ideally, they'll all meet up there. Then we'll have 3 mountain rescuers on site for 1 patient. As it stands now, the helicopter can't fly any higher. That means the mountain rescuers and the person we're searching for will still have to descend on foot.
So, Alex.
I'm going to throw you a rope now, and you'll use it to secure yourself, okay?
He's being secured right now by our rescue team. He's apparently at the end of the glacier at the edge crevasse. There's always a small crevasse between the glacier and the rock face above it. It's called the edge crevasse, and that's where he is right now.
Hi there. Hello. Are you cold? Do you have gloves? No gloves with you?
Lucas? I'll be right there anyway. I'll stay over here on this side. I threw him a rope. I'll stay here on the rock side, and you come from the ice side.
Just stay right there. I'll take care of the rest.
Will we go up?
No, we're going down.
Okay. With the rope?
Yes, with the rope. Fresh off the production line. He was hypothermic. His face was blue. His hands were cold. He was huddled there in a 30 by 30 centimeter space. He was digging into the snow with his bare hands and didn't even dare to take off his backpack to put on some extra clothes. So he was just sitting there in a sweat-soaked t-shirt. How long have you been standing here?
3.5 hours.
3.5? I'm going to connect us up now.
Okay, will you lower me down then?
I'll lower you. We'll rappel down together.
This is really embarrassing.
Don't think about that for now. Let's focus on getting down. You can feel embarrassed later, but you really don't need to. I can tell you that right now. I've been in situations where I got stuck too.
You should never underestimate a crevasse like that. It's often a black hole, and you really don't want to know how deep it is. And as far as the width, it's often a bit tricky too. If it's just a meter or so, then you can jump across it somehow. But at the Blaueis Glacier, it was 5-6 meters wide, and you couldn't reach the other side by jumping. So he was also quite lucky. A few meters further to the left, that ice surface would have been thinner. You have to be careful there, because with a crevasse like that at the edge, more ice can melt away, and then it's hollowed out underneath, which you can't see from above, and then you might break through.
Okay, it's secure now. All right, let's climb down. Everything okay? Have you ever rappelled before?
Yeah, I'm a climber too.
Then you know how it works. It'll be fine. Careful. Let's make sure we're heading... No, that's fine. The direction's right. Just straight down, not too far to the left.
Yes, especially in the upper section of the Blaueis Glacier. There's a major risk of slipping or tripping. You could slide down the steep snow or ice field all the way to that central barrier, that rock belt, and seriously injure yourself there, just like what happened to Peter Hildebrand back then.
What do you think?
Yeah, steep.
Do you think we can make it?
What?
Is it doable? Can we go down there?
I don't know.
Take a look.
Do you have a second ice axe?
No, unfortunately not.
I'm feeling a little shaky right now.
Then just stay right there. From my own experience, I'd say it's easier to climb up than to descend the same terrain. So if you're going on mountain hikes alone, where you don't have any gear for rappelling or anything like that, then you really should think carefully about whether you'll be able to climb back down that spot. I think that's exactly what he overlooked that day. But as I said, it was a good thing he didn't try to descend. You can sit on your backpack.
And then slide down?
No, just sit on it. The backpack will protect you against the cold ground. Then you can sit there for a bit. You're strapped in here.
Yeah, it's fine right now. I'm just stretching a bit.
Good. Move around. Circle your arms.
That was quite an action-packed mission. I wouldn't have thought so. Just goes to show when the helicopter can't get up there.
Best to stay below it. I'd say it took us about 2.5 hours or so to get through the roughest part. The good thing was that the further down we went and the rockier it got, the better he was able to work with me. So you could tell that he was warming up again and that the terrain suited him better. And by the end, he was walking completely normally. That was good for us. We'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, hi, this is Josef again. They're on their way down right now, so I think they'll be at the station within the next quarter of an hour. Feel free to stop by. Hi, I'm Josef. We spoke on the phone. Hi.
Hi, I'm probably way too early.
No, not at all. The first ones are just arriving. I don't know when the others will get here. Yeah, well, everything went well.
Yes, thank goodness. He actually said, well, he was able to text me, but he couldn't reach anyone. He couldn't call anyone. I couldn't call him. It was all a bit...
Did you try a WhatsApp call?
No, actually not. Because every time I sent a message, it didn't go through. And then I couldn't... Hello. Oh.
He was actually a good climber. You could tell that on the way down. He was moving well. This wasn't his first time doing this.
When we got back down, he told us again he'd simply gone too far, and he doesn't normally do that. But on that particular day he did. And he was also aware that if he'd tried to descend, it might have ended badly. Yeah.
That's a crucial point for us. In the vast majority of cases during a mission like this, we fly up. Then someone goes down, gives you a harness, back up in the helicopter, and off we go. It's a 10-minute job, and then it's done. Today it took so long because we couldn't fly. Conditions were also getting worse and worse. The fog was coming down lower and lower.
Yeah, that was bad timing.
Wenn man halt in einer Situation ist, wo man alleine nicht mehr
If you find yourself in a situation you can't get out of on your own on the mountain, or if it's becoming clear that things could go badly if you try, the most sensible thing to do is definitely to stay put and call emergency services. People often call emergency services for reasons that aren't that urgent, so you shouldn't hesitate to do so when you're on the mountain. So was this a difficult mission for you guys? Because of the weather conditions?
Yes, it was definitely an unusual one.
I'm glad you're doing well.
Cheers to you being alive.
Yep, I'm learning. Thank you very much.
Have a nice evening, everyone, and enjoy your meal.
Same to you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
It'll be fine.
It'll all be over by the time you get married. That was a challenging but successful mission. That's what we're here for. We can definitely be proud that it worked out that way. I mean, as I said, there could have been 1,000 reasons why it wouldn't have gone so well. Yeah.